All right. I think we're live right
I
now.
believe we are live too.
All right. Throw your headphones on so that this looks a little bit more like a complete show or something.
Oh, come on. Be professional.
I'm giving you trouble because you knew that was always going to happen. By the way, hi, everybody.
Welcome. We have new digs.
Yeah. His place, so same house that he's had for a little bit, but the best apartment now.
Yeah. Look, we have a board.
It's weird, right?
This is 21st century technology.
Pretty sweet, dude. It's pretty freaking sweet, actually.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So what have we been doing? I think our last one of these that we did was
NHL and NBA playoffs.
oh god.
That's been a while.
Well, that was right before I went down to DC to go cover the conference finals.
Yep.
That was a good time. That was a really good time, actually. By the way, the hoodie I'm repping is BU, my school, because college hockey is right around the corner, and I've got that gig going again this year, and I'll get you into more games to do more photog work.
I mean, hey, I'll take it. In the meanwhile, we were joined by special guests, an ox,
A rooster.
and St. Augustine, diviner of spiritual truths, as we attempt to divine the sports truths in this one. And yeah, we've got a lineup.
Yeah, you can see the lineup over our shoulders.
At
here.
least
The
theoretically.
well, I mean, the first one is just us just talking about why we're actually doing stuff here again, which is pretty nice. The second one is to divine the truth of a truthless and godless league called the National Football League.
I'm as lost as you are. That's putting it lightly.
First question. Wait, Cleveland isn't awful anymore?
So the Steelers kind of
Gacked it.
well, they didn't butt fumble like the butt fumble actually did, but
They gacked it.
I mean, you had one job. You had one job.
Don't tie. Just don't tie them.
Haven't there been 3 ties this year or something?
There've been 2. There
I
was
thought there was a third.
no. There was just there was the opener, and there was a game between the Packers and Vikings, which Minnesota had a chance to kick a game-winning field goal with 3 seconds
yes, I
left in
remember that.
overtime. And oh, right, it's Minnesota. I'm sorry, state of Minnesota, but you don't get nice things when playing the Packers.
Well,
Packer fan me is not apologizing for that, by the way.
I wouldn't doubt that in the first place.
Also, I guess the other thing that feeds into the whole what is up with the National Football League, Fitzmagic. I know he lost last night, but still, I thought he looked pretty decent. Actually, I don't know if you saw the highlights or anything of it.
Highlights of
Bucks Steelers that they played last night.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
Okay. Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is a Harvard University alum, which is right down the street in that direction from us.
It's actually that way.
Oh, you and your
see, I live here. All right, MIT's that way, Harvard's that way. Yes, I live in between the two.
Yeah, all of Cambridge is either in between these two or somewhere else.
That's actually kind of true, to be fair.
Anywho, so
I should note I've seen Ryan Fitzpatrick now in a couple of different photo ops post game. He's trying to be Conor McGregor.
Are you complaining?
Not really. Not really. As long as he doesn't start shouting obscenities and throwing furniture and trying to assault people, I'm generally okay with it, I guess.
Fair enough. I mean, I just look at those pictures and I just think, I want to be this magical man. I mean,
he's just short a unicorn right next to him, but
yeah, he's making millions of dollars. He is the perfect meme for the rest of all time. And
has he been made into one yet, or is that still on his to-do list?
Dude, you know what the internet has already done.
No, I actually don't.
Just look up Fitzmagic. That will be your thing. They did lose last night. He came back. He guided them back. They only lost by 3 points to the Steelers. But by the way, in the Steelers' first time that they won a football game, which was this season, which was good for them. But you are just now seeing the Fitzmagic memes.
I'm beginning to divine them. Yes, I will say this: his beard is epic.
Oh, his beard is glorious. The beard sunglass combination is always going to be a thing that lasts the test of time.
Sadly, I don't believe my beard is quite that epic yet.
Quite that epic, dude. Your beard is comparatively. I mean, it's better than me, who has no beard whatsoever. But for just comparison's
Okay,
sake,
I just found Fitzmagic.
and what do you think? Yeah. Oh yeah. The Twitterverse has had a good time yesterday.
Wow, that's yes, you are now officially remembered forever. He looks so excited in just a very strange way.
Yeah. The Fitzmagic memes, they are beautiful. You seriously just go to the internet, type in Fitzmagic, and it's glorious. It's a great time to be alive.
At least for him.
He's making millions of dollars and having a good time while doing it. I mean, here's just what I'm doing. You go to the internet, you go to whatever search engine you want.
See, this is what I thought you were talking about when you said Fitzmagic.
Well, that too. The Fitzmagic memes are great.
All right, we can discuss those later. And in more important news,
what, something's more important than Fitzmagic? Okay, they lost last night, so I guess yes.
Well, we need to follow up on the Browns report. We need to follow up on the Brown report.
Like they won something. I know it was a Thursday night game. Thursday night football is an abomination, by the way. And I know it was against the Jets. The Jets are. I don't need to finish that line. But it was,
like I said, the butt fumbled.
It was an officially sanctioned National Football League game, and the
635
Browns,
days, I think, since their last victory.
Yeah.
Obama
was still president. Marvel's released a ton of movies since then. Star Wars has become hated by its own fans again.
This is true, actually. Wow. When you put it in that perspective, yeah,
that was a whole thing. By the way, the criticism of The Last Jedi is mostly stupid, in my humble opinion. But
we're not here for a film critiquing podcast.
I know. I'm just letting my opinion be known on that whole deal. But you've watched the highlights of the Browns Jets game, right? Yeah, you've watched.
I mean, if we can call them highlights. All I kept seeing were missed passes, fumbles that were recovered.
Well, for Mayfield, at least. For just
Mayfield, okay. You got me there. Mayfield now is this glimmering hope in the factory of sadness that is the Browns organization.
Well, he came in right before halftime when Tyrod Taylor, who says that's got to be an interesting fate. You're the quarterback of a quote playoff close quote team in Buffalo. You then get moved to Cleveland.
What was that trade even about?
I'm not even sure exactly what.
In any event, he got moved.
Well, either he signed a free contract or he moved, but whatever happened, he left and he went to Cleveland because
I thought Taylor was traded to them.
I'm checking and reminding myself, but as it stands,
this shows you exactly how much we care about this particular situation.
We just don't care.
We just mock it at this point.
I mean, we kind of have to tell the truth. So. For whatever it's worth, he was traded in March.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone would willingly sign with the Browns unless there was a pile of cash.
March 9th, 2018, the Bills agreed to trade Tyrod Taylor to the Cleveland Browns for a 2018 third-round draft pick. So,
ouch.
Despite drafting Baker Mayfield first overall in the 2018 draft, Browns committed to Taylor as the day one starter, his first start against the Steelers. He helped snap a 17-game losing streak in which the Browns had a number of opportunities to make things happen. Taylor went 15 for 40 for 197 yards, one touchdown, one pick, ran 77 yards on the ground and got a touchdown rushing. So, I mean, it's better than some of the other Cleveland performances. But I watched that overtime. It was hilarious
Mm-hmm.
just watching both teams want to give the other side the victory. It was really, really funny, and it was great. Is it wrong for me to be laughing at these teams making horrible and awful mistakes?
No.
That's the right answer. This is why we are friends.
Okay, so back to Baker Mayfield. He is wow.
He's a player. He was
Yeah,
a player.
he is.
He was a walk-on at Oklahoma.
No, he wasn't. He was a walk-on at Texas Tech.
Oh, right.
He was a walk-on at Texas Tech, and he transferred then to Oklahoma. Which, oh boy, that Red River shootout, that's gonna get ugly.
Actually, the Red River rivalry isn't really between Oklahoma and Texas Tech. It's really between Oklahoma and Texas Longhorns.
Oh, you're right.
So not really. So not really.
Do Tech and Oklahoma even play in the same conference?
I think they'd be in the Big 12.
You get the point. Yeah, there's football is big in Texas, college football especially. Also in Oklahoma, he's a turncoat as far as some people are concerned.
The situation wasn't really working for him at Tech, so he transferred out, and I can't fault him in the least bit. So yes, Texas Tech and Oklahoma are in the same conference. They're both Big 12 teams.
Okay, well,
the teams in that conference: Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, UT Austin. So that Red River rivalry is still a thing. Texas Tech, and the kind of wild card here, West Virginia. Dude, conferences are stupid nowadays with their setup. I mean, you take a look at the map, and Texas, okay, Oklahoma, okay, go up into you go up just a little bit further up into Kansas, and you're like, okay. Then you jump to Iowa, which is separated from the other three, and you're like, well, I mean, that's still kind of acceptable. And then there's West Virginia, and we've jumped the shark. At least, dude, just take a look at the map of the American Athletic Conference if you want a map for a stupid college conference.
Yep.
I mean, I'll let you punch that in and take a look at the map if you ever want interest. But
I don't want my head to explode.
Fair enough. But Mayfield, I actually have some friends who played on the Oklahoma baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
One guy who lived in my house last summer with the Brewster Whitecaps named Steele Walker, and one other guy who was a really good friend of Steele's who played on the baseball team, played for Harwich. His name is Kyler Murray, who was drafted 4th overall in last year's baseball draft, but decided to go back to school to play his senior year as the starting quarterback at Oklahoma to succeed Mayfield.
Oh, that's a career path for you right there.
Yeah, he'll play his senior year at Oklahoma, and then he'll go play professional baseball after this because he wanted to be the starting quarterback at Oklahoma.
Because Bo Jackson wants to be reincarnated again.
Possibly. I mean, he always wanted to be the starting quarterback. His family is Oklahoma family, so he wanted to be a part of it.
There you go.
So works out pretty decently for him. Mayfield had a number of bits of controversy for him. There were a lot of people who viewed him as an egotist and as a self-marketer, a self-promoter, to the point of being a little bit of a jerk.
Well, he has the numbers to back it.
One, he has the numbers to back it. And two, he has earned it after being a walk-on, after being a transfer, and he won the Heisman and won it rightly so, I think.
Yep.
So Mayfield, I mean, if anyone is going to help the Browns out, it's a quarterback that actually walks with some swagger and can actually make some stuff happen, and Mayfield plays with some swagger.
Just don't get destroyed. That's it at the end of the day. You can be as good and as proud as you want to be, but the second they start digging into you and the second they really start hurting you, that's going to get ugly.
More importantly, just make sure that the offensive line isn't putrid garbage. That's all you need to make sure.
You know what his passer rating from the last game was, right?
Was pretty high, wasn't
It
it?
was 100.1.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
No touchdowns, no interceptions, but 201 passing yards and a half.
He managed the offense and ran it well.
Well, okay, no, he also had OT. Still, he was able to properly manage whatever the Browns have qualifying for an offense these days. And
the Browns are better than they were last year, but that's not saying much. They were winless last year.
Yeah.
And this going up
I just feel sad at this point for them.
Honestly, I don't feel that bad. I think they have a defense that can actually do some things, and that it isn't completely garbage. It's not great, but it's not completely garbage, which in Cleveland speak is a gigantic improvement.
Well, speaking of defenses, shall we move on to the other game that we have selected? I'm just going to let you go. I have no horse in this race. I am just a bystander for the commenter.
Gee, thanks. You're making me feel brilliant out here as the Patriots fan over here.
There is a reason why the Cowboys play. I kind of enjoy football, kind of not. If you want to take digs at me later, you know where to find me. Basketball season.
Totally fair. So, I just have a few questions for Mr. Bill Belichick. I have a few questions to ask, and I'll just note they're 26th in the league for points the first 3 games, 19. The 25th for yards, the 26th for passing yards. They're 20th for rushing yards. So I have some questions. Why is Matt Patricia in Detroit lighting you up? How is it physically possible that you could waste the end of the legendary Tom Brady's career if you continue to make these kinds of mistakes, like misusing your running backs, even though Josh McDaniels continues to defend his decisions and his game planning, and it continues to misuse, and how your rushing leaders are Rex Burkhead and Sony Michael, and neither of them have over 100 yards. And we are now 3 games deep. We don't have a 100-yard rusher for the season. I'm not talking for one individual game. I'm talking for the season. Also, why is the defense a bunch of putrid garbage? Why is the defense a whole bunch of putrid garbage? Why didn't Malcolm Butler play in the Super Bowl? I know he hasn't been that good going down to Tennessee, but this defense is garbage. This defense got lit up by Blake Bortles down in Jacksonville. And I know he's suddenly learned how to just be a good quarterback and just suddenly learns, hey, I like playing the Patriots. So, what is wrong there? Why are the Lions ripping the Patriots up and down the field? Bill Belichick, what are you doing? Why are you... That's pretty much the frustration on every New England Patriots mind, is that this team is unusually bad. And to be fair, there were other seasons where they got off to this kind of sluggish start as well. I think 2003, and they won the Super Bowl that year with, it was a lot of the same core that had won the first Super Bowl in 2001. But the opening game of that season, they got slaughtered 31-0 by the Buffalo Bills by former Patriot quarterback Drew Bledsoe and former Patriots safety Lawyer Malloy, who had only been cut 5 days before because there were salary issues and pay disputes and contract issues. I think 2014, they were 2-2 after they got thoroughly slaughtered on Monday night by Kansas City in Kansas City. By the way, ended up finishing about 500 for that season and missing it, and the Patriots did the thing. So I know that they've started off slow at other points, but something about this feels different. We haven't seen what Josh Gordon can do to help that wide receiver core. Not yet. They didn't play him against Detroit. Gronk is still very effective. James White is a Swiss Army knife out of the backfield. But Holy cow! Gilmore can actually play still on the corner. Devin McCourty can play back there. Jason McCourty can play back there. But what are we doing about a defensive line? Why can't we put any pressure on the quarterback? Why do they have all day to throw? There are a lot of questions to have about this Patriots team.
Yes.
And I'm just barely scraping the surface.
Yeah, Stafford, I remember in several clips that I saw, he could have pulled out a lawn chair.
That's being generous. I mean, the Patriots are tied with the Bills and Jets for a record of 1-2, while the Dolphins are 3-0. And by the way, Patriots, who are you hosting this week? Miami. You're going to get in and actually return to being halfway decent this season. You better do it this week. You better actually show something. You better not let Tom Brady fall apart, because the second that you stop being good, the second that the Patriots stop being good, this area is going to stop caring.
Mm-hmm.
The second that the Patriots stop being good, they'll always care about the Red Sox, and because it's a baseball town first and foremost. But the second they stop being good, we're not going out to Foxborough to catch it.
Well, because you actually have to go out there.
Yeah. And it's like 40 minutes or something like that at least to get out there. So not happening. So that's the situation for Pats fans. It's a bad one. It's a very bad one, actually, for the Pats.
So let me ask you this. Right now you have a magic wand and you wave it and you fix one thing. What's your first priority?
Defensive line. Holy crap, that's awful. You can't put pressure on a quarterback, you can't win. And the Patriots just can't put pressure on a quarterback. They won the first week against Houston because Deshaun Watson is young. He's a good quarterback, but he's young, and he's still figuring his way out back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
So they just can't put pressure on anybody. And if they can't do that, they can't win a football game. That's the first thing I fix.
All right.
Now that you've made me depressed.
That is the state of the Patriots. We've had the Brown report.
The rest of the
league.
Football League. I didn't expect the Raiders to be this bad. They're 0-3.
No, I don't think anyone did. There are a couple of 0-3 teams, aren't there?
The Raiders, the Cardinals. Well, the Cardinals are going into free fall because who cares? The Houston Texans is a little surprising that they're that bad, but
they were a 500 team last year.
Yeah, but their whole team went down with a ton of injuries last year.
That's fair.
The NFC East continues to be a weird conference.
It basically always has been.
Well, the Eagles have their quarterback situation to figure out whether they continue to go with Super Bowl hero Foles or they bring back Carson Wentz to be. Actually, no, Wentz is going to be back in this week as the starter. The Washington Redskins with Alex Smith are a football team, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for them.
Andy Reid is chiefing it up in the AFC West.
Don't worry, that team will crash and burn as they always do. The Chargers, they have no fans, but they actually have something that resembles a potential team.
I've seen some stuff. They're not horrible. I just think that they need to execute better.
Yeah, they have some talent. Rivers will make the Hall of Fame when he's all done.
Oh, yeah. That man single-handedly kept the team relevant for what?
A decade?
Yeah.
Denver actually looks pretty fine after Vance Johnson probably should have been fired, but who cares?
Mm-hmm.
AFC
North, Bengals and Ravens are at the top. And then come the Browns and the Steelers.
Wow. That division is awful.
I'm confused. I'm very, very confused.
I tell you, the North is just terrible this year.
Andrew Luck pulled the Colts out of the glue factory.
For one
game. I mean, that's they need hope. They need hope.
They get none.
Titans and Jaguars leading the way.
Not surprising that the Jaguars are up there. The Titans, I genuinely think the Jaguars I list them as my favorite to go to the Super Bowl this year, which is weird to say, but
the Jaguars?
Yeah.
They've got a solid team. when they lost to who was it?
I'll scroll back.
They lost in week 2.
Yeah.
And it was a surprising loss because it looked like they could have.
They lost 9-6 to Tennessee.
Okay, yeah.
So I got to note something for historical comparison about how the Jaguars have always had trouble beating the Titans. There's one particular year, 1999. It's the best season that the Jacksonville Jaguars have ever had. Tom Coughlin was their head coach. They made it all the way to the AFC Championship game. They ended Dan Marino's career.
I remember that,
by
yes.
beating the Dolphins 63 or 62 or something like that.
It was awful. They just kept destroying him too.
And they hosted for the first time the AFC Championship game. And then they went 14-2. They lost their 2 regular season games to the newly named Tennessee Titans. They had just moved from Houston. And
yep.
They were the Tennessee Oilers for 2 years. And they played in Memphis for a little bit. They played at Vanderbilt for a little bit, and they finally built their new stadium in Nashville. That year, at the time entitled Adelphi Coliseum, and they won their game out there. They went to Jacksonville and won their second game there, and then in the AFC Championship game, the Tennessee Titans defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 3 times in one season. Jacksonville beat everyone else they played and very possibly could have won the Super Bowl that year, except they couldn't beat Tennessee. So I guess Tennessee is a bad matchup for Jacksonville, I guess, until further notice, which is a weird sentence, but it is the situation we have right now.
Is it comparable to Capitals Penguins?
That was the one playoff time. So also the meme is dead. So
I mean, they pretty much wrecked it last year,
which is fine by me. So I actually like Ovi. So
we will discuss this when the NHL comes around again. But yeah,
just a very quick note. Ovi's celebration. Ovi's celebrating with the cup. It's glorious. It's more.
Did not let that cup leave his sight for a week straight.
I mean, it's more beautiful than I could have ever imagined.
His wife got jealous because he was sleeping with it more than her.
Earned it. All right.
Let's wrap things up real quick. The Rams in the NFC West.
Yeah, they have an
3-0.
They have an actual quarterback. And also, by the way, may the Lord have mercy on Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers. Torn ACL. He's done for the season. Yeah.
Well,
by the way, the second I said that, the
bells started tolling outside. That's good timing.
That works out pretty well.
Who's replacing Garoppolo?
Someone who's not as good.
Touche. Let's hope this 49ers can find someone like the Wentz situation, like the Eagles found Foles.
Yeah. Well, Seattle is going to be down doldrums again, and Arizona. It's now a 1-team division. Los Angeles, congratulations. You have sewn up a playoff spot in September. Enjoy getting annihilated when you get there.
Don't mess it up. You have one job. Do not mess this up.
Meanwhile, the South is actually pretty tight. 3 teams are 2-1.
Yep.
1 is 1-2. And how long do you think Fitzmagic keeps it up in Tampa?
He'll keep going till the wheels fall off.
That didn't answer my question. Like, do you think it lasts for the remainder of the season? Do you think it lasts halfway through and then
he's got a confidence right now that I don't think he's had previously? Well, probably since he was with the Bills.
Which is a terrible sentence, but that's probably the
case. That's exactly it. Just go. Drew Brees and the Saints.
They literally have nothing other than
Drew
offense,
Brees,
though.
Yeah.
No, they have offense around him. It's just they've scored 104 points so far this season. They've given up 103.
Yep.
So they have a team, I think. Like I think
it's the 7 seconds or less version of the Phoenix Suns.
I mean, it's the National Football League's version of the 7 seconds or less Suns. So I mean, sure, yeah, whatever. Carolina, Cam Newton's a weird player.
He's really hot, then he's not.
he's talented. He's
he's
unbelievably
oh,
talented.
he's fantastic. He's also very streaky.
Yeah, I mean, he could win the MVP of the league, and then he'll look like he shouldn't be playing for a Division III high school team next week.
Yep.
He's weird. I mean,
NFC South is going to be competitive. Just keep your eyes on it.
yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun to get to watch. Though, I expect the Falcons to crash and burn. Also, another reminder of 28-3 would be great. I would just love to see the Falcons embrace it and hang a 28-3 banner in their arena, to celebrate the occasion. Would that be too harsh? It probably would be too harsh. Nah. Anyway, so the North, well, the Packers actually have Rodgers again.
It's there.
Well, it exists, and the Bears aren't completely garbage right about now. That's pretty decent. That's pretty not terrible. Good job, people. You're pretty not terrible. I need to get a new voice. I'm very sorry. I feel like I should apologize.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
Terrible.
All right. Baseball.
I think we're done with football for right now. Shove you back into them. We've both waned in our I've waned severely in my interest in the National Football League. Tomas has never really had that much. Yeah.
It's never really been that. It hasn't been that great since I got into rugby.
That's totally reasonable.
It's just too slow, stop, start. You're so dependent on single players. I just want to see two teams that are really fairly equal duke it out.
Which is why hockey is a better sport.
And I agree with that.
All right, so let's talk about God's favorite sport, baseball.
I'll let you kick off because as a Rangers fan, I surrendered my rights to the sport probably in April of this year.
By the way, your team is 66-90.
Welcome back to the 90s, folks.
The early 90s. The late 90s, your team was actually pretty not terrible. Your team made the playoffs a bunch in the late 90s.
Yeah, and we always got stomped by either the Yankees or the Angels.
No, just the Yankees.
No.
Okay, the late 90s, yes. The early 2000s, the Angels.
The Angels just wrecked our shop.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst you could have ever had. So
I've been to the team for 3 World Series and I am still denied.
2. 2010 and 2011.
Don't remind me.
Oh,
I like to think it's 3, but it's not.
I'm sorry, dude. Do we want to talk about good baseball?
All you, man. You got the floor.
There's a part of me that I don't want to gloat too much because I know the Red Sox. I know this current crop of Red Sox. They had a great run in 2016 when they had a garbage week in the last week of the season and got swept out of the Division Series and lost to Cleveland. First of all, you lost to Cleveland. Second of all, it was David Ortiz's last game, and I was in the stands for that one, and I cried like a baby that night. Shamelessly, I love Ortiz for the rest of all my days. But what the team has done this year and last year, losing to Houston, that's acceptable. Houston was a great team last year. Are you allowed to adopt Houston as your temporary baseball team?
I could, in theory, do it. I am a bandwagon Houston fan on occasion, yes.
I mean, you pulled for them in the World Series over LA, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that wasn't even a question.
Yeah, same with me. Which, by the way, how great was last year's World Series? Except Game 7.
Pretty good, actually. Solid across the board.
I think it's one of the best World Series that's ever been played, actually. I really think it's one of the best World Series that we've ever been fortunate enough to do so. When the postseason gets underway, I'll write up my opinion on what the best World Series that have ever been played are because I'd like
Why
to do
not?
that. And it's just been a lot of fun watching this Red Sox team have the offensive ability and have everyone buy in a way that's just like, this is pretty special. I mean, it's pretty awesome. Just the fact that they go, yeah, we're buying in. We like winning. And I've not seen that in the way that the Red Sox have shown from many other teams. It's awesome to get to watch. And by the way, so the teams that have actually clinched postseason spots in the American League so far, Boston, New York, Cleveland, Houston, and Oakland. So Oakland clinched last night, actually.
Yep.
They clinched so that's pretty promising, actually.
Mhm.
So the wild card game will end up being between the Yankees and probably the A's, unless Houston just disintegrates. But in all likelihood, they'll be between Oakland and New York, and it'll be in New York. Because we need to be reminded of the early thousands again.
Mm,
So I'll be watching that ball game. That should be a great time, right?
I mean, I'll be there in some capacity. I just need some hope from my team at this point.
Dude, you're a Rangers fan.
It left long ago.
I mean,
It left so long ago.
it left when Josh Hamilton decided, I don't like playing baseball anymore. I don't like the Rangers anymore. I know they gave me a shot to be an MVP and all, but I don't
No,
like
it
Texas
left
anymore.
when our starting pitching decided to go the way of the dodo.
You mean when Joey Bats flipped his bat? That too.
And that probably didn't help any.
Yeah, the bat flip killed the last dodo bird. Anywho, so can I just note for a second how comedically awful Baltimore is?
It's, I mean, how do I even describe it properly?
Trash, garbage, putrid, dumpster fire.
It's not Jerry
awful.
Springer level, but at the same time, it's
worse.
It's Cleveland Brown-esque.
Mm.
The ship is sinking, and they just keep seeming to throw more wood on the fire just to see what happens.
I can give Baltimore a little bit of optimism. The team can't tie the record for most losses in the history of the American League this year. They can finish like third or fourth, though.
What is the record
for the American League? I'll pull this up. I think it was the Tigers. They said it in 2003 with 119.
Oh.
So yeah, it's a pretty interesting kind of deal. When you type in most losses, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, worst Major League Baseball seasons. Are you ready for some terrible baseball?
Go for it.
So if we're including the pre-modern era, there was a team in 1899 called the Cleveland Spiders.
I have heard of them, actually. Yes.
They won 20 games and lost 134. Now there's a reason why. It's because the guy who owned the Cleveland Spiders also owned the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes, and
he moved pretty much all of his good players from the Spiders to the Cardinals. Like, he moved all players that were worth anything to the Cardinals. And so the Spiders fielded a team that was an aberration unto the sport. That went over pretty nicely. Well done, people. So the most losses in the modern era for any team came in 1962. It was set by the New York Mets. 40 wins, 120 losses. It was their first year of existence.
I mean, I've heard of stinging defeat, but jeez.
They won the World Series 7 years later. The Miracle Mets beat the, at that point, not garbage, and in fact, legendarily good Baltimore Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
So the sport is stupid sometimes because baseball makes no sense, which is why it is great. The record for the American League is 2003. Detroit lost 119 games. Currently, Baltimore has, what did I say, 111. So 111 currently ties them with 4 teams. They're tied with the 1941 Philadelphia Phillies, the 1939 St. Louis Browns, who later became the Baltimore Orioles.
Baltimore Orioles, yes.
And the 1932 Boston Red Sox. And by the way, those teams that the Browns, Red Sox, and Phillies that lost 111 games, they did so in fewer games. All those teams were 43 wins, 111 losses. So they did it in a 154-game season. The Orioles are doing this in a 162-game season. So the most losses for it should be noted that the Mets had their epic loss season in 1962 in a 160 game season.
Mm-hmm.
The Tigers of 03 have the lowest record for any team in a 162 game season. So
All right then.
That's how that works. The lowest winning percentage is 1916. Let me just reorganize this. So 1916 was the lowest winning percentage in the history of Major League Baseball, set by the Philadelphia Phillies at a 235 clip. They won 36 games and lost 117.
Jeez.
Did I mention that team won a World Series about like 7 years before, and their manager didn't get fired for that?
That just hurts.
Well, the reason their manager didn't get fired is because it was Connie Mack, and Connie Mack owned the team. So he managed it until he died. He was the manager for 50 years. He was also the owner of the team.
Collusion. I smell collusion.
Not really collusion. It was just he owned
He
the
owned
whole
the
organization.
team, yeah.
That's not collusion. That's just I own it, and I'm terrible at owning it. Anywho,
I still smell collusion.
Anywho, so that's your taste of terrible baseball as of late. So, what would the playoff matchups be right now if we were to jump into it?
I haven't looked at that exactly.
Well, just taking a look at the standings, Red Sox have home field for the entire duration of the postseason because they have 106 wins. The most in the National League is the Chicago Cubs with 91.
Mm-hmm.
It's a more tightly grouped National League.
Okay. So, yeah, Boston's got home field the entire way.
Which means they get the wild card team. So they either get Oakland or New York as in round one. And frankly, I want the Yankees to come into town. I want postseason matchups between Boston and New York. You know you do. You know you want that baseball world. Apologies to Oakland.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight.
It depends on who the Yankees put on the hill for that matchup, I think. Because I don't trust the Yankees starting pitching to win a championship.
Oh, boy. So I'm looking at their schedules right now.
What do we got?
So Oakland may be 2 games behind, but the Yankees have a really bad schedule this week.
Yeah, the Yankees end the season playing the Red Sox at Fenway.
There's 4 against the Rays, and there's 3 at Boston.
And Tampa is a respectable team, 87 and 69.
Yeah.
It's not going to win a division because it's got the Red Sox and Yankees in it, but it's a good team. They'd be pushing Cleveland in the AL Central if they were moved over there. They never will be because that's kind of dumb. But
so let's see how it goes. It will be interesting to see at the very least.
I mean, those two teams will end up playing the wild card game. I think if it's in New York, that matchup, of course, favors the Yankees. If it's in Oakland, it's just a bigger field out there, and it would favor the momentum riding Oakland A's. And I still think that the Red Sox have, as long as the bullpen isn't trash for Boston, because that has been a big complaint.
One weakness.
That bullpen is truly pathetic for the Red Sox.
I mean, you've got your starters and your closer, and that's basically it.
Kimbrel, though, he's great for 3 outs. Try not to push him beyond it because he has not been that good when.
How many blown saves does he have How many blown saves does he have when he's brought in the 8th? That's the question that I need to know.
I'm checking that out just to confirm his own record because I'm going off of a feel, not off of the immediate record in front of me, but it always feels like whenever Kimbrel comes in and he has also, I'm just hoping that the Red Sox don't have to play Cleveland because that has actually been a very bad matchup for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping we don't have to face.
Just how many blown saves does Kimbrel have? That's my first question.
And pulling up the pitching record because you give him a clean inning, he's lights out. He's really quite a pitcher. All right, so let's see. Craig Kimbrell has 42 saves. That's not very helpful. Also, the other question that is worth having is David Price going to melt down in the postseason again? Another question: how healthy is Chris Sale right now? Which because
you know that a bit better than I do.
well, Sale's been fighting recurring problems throughout the whole season. So okay, so okay, so Kimbrell has played in 61 games. He has thrown 61 innings. He's given up 31 hits, 15 runs, all of them earned, 7 homers, 28 walks, 93 strikeouts, 42 saves. He's blown 5 saves, which
Not the end of the world.
it's not. It's a little bit concerning, honestly. His last blown save was in an 8-7 game, which Boston ultimately won on the 28th against the Miami Marlins. Blew a save to Miami.
All right, then.
He threw only 1 inning in that game, so I just please don't mess this up. Please, dear God, don't mess this up. So for this season, he's got a 2.21 ERA and a WHIP of 0.97. It's pretty good. So so that's my only bit of concern, and I do think the Red Sox will at least reach the ALCS. I just wonder what they'll do because Cleveland and Houston will be the other matchup, and that'll be a great series.
That's going to be a fantastic series. Yeah, agreed.
And I think Houston's the better. I think Houston's the better team in that one, but I just don't know what the matchup between Houston and Cleveland is. Like, I don't know what
I would need to see the rosters, and I don't have them in front of me right now.
Yeah. I just want to see what their record against each other is.
In other news, very briefly, the NL portion of the program. Where are you?
It exists.
Oh well, okay. So Chicago, I know Chicago was one team. They looked solid. The Braves were another solid core. I want to say it's the Dodgers out west who are winning.
They're up by 1.5 games on Colorado right now.
And then the wild card right now is between St. Louis and Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
The wild card, I don't know the NL well enough at the moment to give you an accurate prediction. But
worth noting that it's a 3-horse race for the National League wild card spot. It's the Rockies, the Cardinals, and the Brewers.
Yeah.
And the Brewers are only a game and a half back of the Cubs, so they could still win the division away from Chicago.
Yeah, so it's definitely still more competitive no matter how you look at it. I think the AL is just definitely locked up.
Yeah, there's the NL East is locked up as well. Atlanta has
Atlanta's got that.
Yeah, Atlanta has it all on lock. So frankly, who cares? I mean, it's just a shame that Washington, in a year that Bryce Harper becomes an unrestricted free agent this offseason.
Oh, boy.
How much money is he going to make?
A lot.
All of it? He's going to make all of the money.
He's going to make a ton of money.
Good work. Good work, Bryce Harper. You're going to make a lot of money this season. Don't go to the friggin' Yankees. You know they're going to make a play to try and buy him. Don't go to the friggin' Yankees.
I don't think you have much of a say in that at this point.
I know I don't. I mean, well, technically no one does because you're allowed to talk to other teams at this point.
Yeah, fair.
All
right. So I think I'll wrap it up with boxing, and I'll keep it nice and short.
Cool.
Anthony Joshua took care of Povetkin. It was pretty conclusive. The question now is, who's he going to fight? Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, maybe Dillian White if he feels like it. It also depends too, because boxing is boxing. You know, who's your mandatory fight opponent? Blah 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 blah. So the heavyweight scene it's still building back up. I just want to see if I remember properly. So Tyson Fury is now on his comeback campaign, and I'm not going to say he's been up against nobodies, but at the same time,
they're not the biggest stars.
The caliber of fighter that he's been going up against hasn't exactly been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to be fair, the way that he has dominated his last 2 fights, he's definitely shown that he is a bad man that you do not want to mess with in the ring. Joshua right now has got all the belts, so he has all the leverage. Wilder is trying to figure out who he's going to fight. It's a little bit harder, I would say, because he's only got 1 belt. And oh wait, what the heck?
What's the 1 belt he has?
Deontay Wilder says he signed a contract to fight Tyson Fury on December 1st.
Okay.
Oh boy, if this is real. Oh, if this is real. This is going to be a bloodbath. Okay, so for you, Chris, this is who Tyson Fury used to be.
That is rather impressive. He has literally everything.
Tyson Fury at one point was considered to be, barring his personal antics, possibly one of the best boxers of the modern era. He's slow, he's heavy, but he's got belts. And whether or not people agree with how he does it, that's kind of irrelevant.
He's 6 feet 8 inches tall, 6'9", technically.
He's from an Irish gypsy family. His father boxed, bare knuckle, I believe. His brother also boxed.
Born in Withenshaw, Manchester.
Yep.
He's 30 years old right now.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that Tyson Fury is just hype.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay. I mean, I don't follow it closely enough to properly know.
So here's the thing. Much like MMA, it's a lot of hype stuff.
Okay.
No, it's legit.
This is gonna happen.
Oh man.
You're gonna watch that fight.
Oh man, this is gonna be bad.
What?
These 2 guys? Okay. Tyson Fury is arguably one of the most annoying tactical boxers in the world. This is the dude who came to a press conference dressed as Batman just to mess with his opponent's head.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, Tyson Fury, to put it politely, is an enigmatic figure.
He's an infuriating person.
He's an absolute mess of a human being. He will get in your head, and his sole goal is to make sure that you are second guessing everything he does and whether or not he's possibly sane, which, to be fair, a lot of people questioned even medically for a while. That's why he got his boxing license stripped, that and the cocaine.
I was going to say, on October 12th, 2016, pending investigation on anti-doping and medical issues, Fury took it upon himself to vacate the WBA, Unified, WBO, and IBO titles. Following an emotional statement, it was said that Fury would have been stripped eventually. However, Fury's decision was based on not having himself under constant pressure and allowing him time to recover, get professional medical help, and spend time with family. October the 13th, the British Boxing Board of Control decided to suspend Fury's boxing license. He was on the 1st of this year, in February. 1st of February this year, Fury was stripped of the Ring Magazine's heavyweight championship for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
So
okay. So we've got Tyson Fury on one side. On the other side, you got Deontay Wilder.
You're a Wilder fan.
I am a Wilder fan. He has arguably the heaviest punch since what's his name? It's not McCall. It's Ernie Shavers. And Ernie Shavers was the guy who made Muhammad Ali said, "I do not want to get hit by that thing."
Okay, then. Also,
he doesn't fight the standard boxing style. It's ugly. It doesn't make sense. But the second you show any weakness and he starts laying into you, you will hurt. He knocked out Bermain Stiverne for what it's worth. He's out of shape. He was brought up because Povetkin tested positive for PEDs before a fight, so he was an emergency fighter. Knocked him out in the first round on his feet. He was out cold before he hit the ground. It was bad.
Impressive.
That entire round, Bermain landed 4 punches. 4.
Okay.
No, he didn't even land one. I think he threw 4, and Deontay just was battering him around the ring. So This fight will be the one to cement Deontay Wilder. If he wins this, that means Anthony Joshua's next. There's no question in my mind at that point. It's going to be a question of, oh, money, he said, she said.
What about Fury if he wins this one?
If he wins, oh, his comeback now is sealed.
Will he fight Joshua again after
Oh,
this?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoever wins this fight
gets Joshua next.
Joshua now is next in line, and that fight is going to be money.
Sweet.
Speaking of money, Canelo GGG 2 just happened. And, okay, Canelo won on the scorecards.
Should he not have?
There's debate. There's questions.
What do you think of the whole thing?
I've only seen highlights of it, and those two were swinging for the fences.
Mm-hmm.
If Canelo wasn't aggressive the first time around, he came in this time, and he made sure to let GGG know it. To be fair, GGG also reminded Canelo, yo, I'm a bad dude. I'm going to hurt you if you mess up.
Mm-hmm.
Those two guys were taking shots that would normally put down most guys, I feel.
But these aren't most guys.
These are most guys. It was hard-hitting. It was fast-paced. A little bit sluggish near the end because they both gassed themselves to within an inch of their life. And yes, Canelo won. But when you have two guys of this significant caliber fighting each other, you are going to win and there will be controversy no matter what. Honestly, if this had been a perfect draw, I would have completely agreed with it.
Okay.
I would have completely agreed with it. These two guys, they're so good. They're so close to each other. There's no way that I can separate the two.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a style versus style match. One's a punter, one's a counterpuncher. Ironically enough, as far as I'm concerned, this one, they actually switched. Canelo was on the aggressive. GGG was on the counter. And normally it's the other way around. It's the way it was the first fight. Will there be a third match? I mean, this fight had a 1.1 million pay-per-view buy-in. Yeah, sorry. Canelo Golovkin 2 does 1.1 million buys on pay-per-view.
Oh.
Yeah, so at least 94 million in pay-per-view buys.
Yeah,
that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. And then the actual gate itself was an extra, 24 million?
All right, then.
So, yes, the money is there. The money is there.
Okay.
Is there going to be a third fight? I sure as hell hope so. Golovkin now is going to be on the back end because he is getting older, and these fights do take 6 months to prep for.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo's a year or two older than me. He's been fighting since he was 15 professionally.
Pretty good.
Dude's got it made. Dude's got it. I mean, both of them got it made. Let's be real here.
Mm-hmm.
But age is on Canelo's side in this one, and especially in the lower weight classes, it does matter a bit more. Once you get to heavyweights, age matters less.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, George Foreman and a couple other major heavyweights are proof of that. But in the middleweights, yeah, you got to be on the younger side.
Oh, for whatever it's worth, I don't know if you care or are interested at all. There is actually some real interest in getting another Mayweather versus Pacquiao fight happening. Like the Mayweather announced that he's going to have a fight announced in Japan as kind of a tune-up before he goes and fights Pacquiao again. Which
I can see that. I can see that happening, but I think he's just doing it for the money now. Hence, money Mayweather. If you want to see real fighters go at it, and no disrespect to Mayweather, it's just, dude, you've had your time in the light.
Step away.
Pay the IRS and just walk away while you're ahead.
Take the 50-0 mark and just walk away right now.
There is an American right now who is not well known by the name of Terrence Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
He is wrecking shop in his division. No one's even close as far as I'm concerned. There might be a few guys who say they can compete. Crawford is such a good assembly of parts right now. And the part that sucks is no one talks about this guy.
Terrence Crawford is his name?
Yeah.
All right.
So here's the issue. He's so good, he's untouchable. No one wants to fight him.
He's 30 years old from Omaha, Nebraska, 5 feet 8 inches tall. Huh, okay.
and he just picks apart his opponents. I don't think he's been past 6 rounds in the past couple of fights because it's stoppage every time.
Yeah. I mean, do you think he'd want to try and go up against Mayweather? Just to
Yeah.
make
Oh,
it
well,
interesting?
assuming they're in the weight class. Yeah.
Let's see. Crawford is 5'8", and he's got to reach a 70.
That's enormous. He's got a almost 6-foot reach.
His amateur achievements: 06, he won the National PAL Championships. He weighed in at 132 pounds. He was a gold medalist there. He won the Blue and Gold National Championships, and he won the U.S. Pan American Games in the box office. All those he weighed in at 132 pounds. Looking for a rundown. Currently, 33 fights. All of them he's won. He's won 24 of them by way of knockout.
Okay, so here are his last couple of fights. I'll start with let's do 2016 onward. Han Coletti, TKO, 5th round out of 12. Victor Postal, unanimous decision, 12. John Molina Jr., TKO in the 8th round out of 12. Felix Diaz, retired in his corner, 10th round out of 12. Julio Indogno, KO'd in the 3rd round out of 12. Jeff Horn, TKO'd 9th round out of 12.
He's pretty.
This dude is hurting people.
He's got a fight scheduled against Jose Benavidez on October the 13th. That's going to be in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, at the CHI Health Center, which is a hilarious title for a place holding a boxing match.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
But yeah. I just have to laugh at that whole thing, you know?
Crawford right now is at the top of his game.
He's got the WBO welterweight title. He won it off of Jeff Horn.
Yep.
And he's currently defending that title.
Let's see. Who are the other welterweight holders? So Mayweather was welterweight. He was.
Did he move up a?
Okay, so current champions right now. There's Keith Thurman.
Okay. In the.
So that's the WBA. The WBC is Sean Porter.
Yep.
The IBF is Errol Spence Jr. That'll be a good fight.
Okay.
If he can get Errol Spence Jr. and Spence is one of the few guys who can maybe take on Terrence. But
still to be determined.
That will be a fantastic fight. I don't know as much about Thurman actually.
Cool.
I can look it up, but yeah. For the lower weight classes, again, you've got to be a bit more of a diehard fan. But I love it. The guys are more technical. It's not as power involved. It's a lot more of the boxing is called the sweet science. It's more of the science of the sweet science. So that's what I enjoy.
Yeah, the heavyweight is
one wrong move, one good punch, and
you're down.
And that's it. Going back to the last Luis Ortiz Deontay Wilder fight.
Yeah.
Ortiz had Wilder basically almost knocked out in the 7th round. How Deontay managed to stay standing in that is beyond me. And then a couple rounds later, Deontay hits Ortiz. Ortiz showed a bit of weakness, and Deontay just came in and destroyed him. That's how heavyweight fights tend to end. The second you show weakness, they go in for the kill.
Yeah. That sounds about accurate.
And then I think before I'll finish, just, I'm more into boxing, but MMA as well. McGregor's coming back.
Who's shocked?
He is going up against Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib is 26-0. McGregor's 21-3.
Okay.
This is going to get heated and ugly. I haven't seen McGregor. I saw McGregor fight Mayweather. I haven't seen McGregor's last fight against, I think it was Jose Aldo. But I don't know much about Khabib. I want to see Khabib fight. I've heard good things about him. I just don't know.
You watched any bit of the highlights of his stuff, or?
No. So like I said, I'm not as into. Ironically enough, I'm actually more into women's MMA because they are so technical.
Really?
I like seeing good conditioning. I like seeing good technique, and you tend to see, at least in my opinion, more of that in the women fights. The guys fighting, same thing, but again, once you get to the heavier weight classes, it's a good roundhouse kick, a good grapple, and fight's over.
Yeah, that makes some bit of sense.
Heck, I was watching an old Pride fight with Bas Rutten.
Ooh.
and dude threw a liver punch. I forget who it was. Some poor Japanese soul. Liver punch didn't look like much. It was so accurate and so powerful. Dude's liver ruptured.
Oh boy.
And just he fell like a sack of potatoes. Don't get into fight sports if you don't like being hurt. It's as simple as that.
Totally reasonable. Oh, one last random thing for note stuff. I think St. Thomas Aquinas might be a big fan of Tyson Fury. Fury's a practicing Catholic.
Oh, Fury is also a raging homophobe, among other things.
You take the good with the bad.
I
know there's a lot
he's certainly a character.
He is an interesting persona, to be generous.
I would liken him to JFK in a sense. Practicing Catholic? Possibly. Does he really follow what he says?
We don't know. And it's a little bit
but Tyson Fury has Instagram.
Oh.
That's the difference. Tyson Fury has Instagram and Snapchat.
God, can you imagine the Kennedys with like that generation?
Oh, heavens. They would not exist. They just couldn't.
They'd just be the Kardashians. They would just be the Kardashians.
No, they possibly be even lower than that because they're politicians and they're supposed to be decent people.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, I know. I loathe politicians. Hello, I'm a U.S. citizen.
What else is news?
I
mean, do you blame people for hating on politicians generally?
And that's a conversation for another time.
For a non-political podcast. Oh well, so that was a good time.
That was good.
So
we covered everything.
Yeah, that looks like everything's on the board that was matched up, even though we spent a little bit more time talking about everyone else than the Red Sox. But
right now the Red Sox are just destroying.
Just bullpen, please don't blow it. So my only request for you, don't completely blow it. I say as I grit my teeth and smile in emphatic and joy.
Yay. And I believe that's the end of the podcast for us.
It probably should be.
I'm Thomas Villone Jr.
I'm Chris Lynch.
There's the Ox. There is St. Augustine, and there is the rooster on a piece of cork.
A cocked cork, if you will.
You've been waiting all podcasts to say that, haven't you?
No, this was the only opportunity I had. It was just like, whatever.
All right, cool. Y'all have a good one. And now, time for the less pretty part of me walking over to the PC and turning it off. Bye!
Don't have to go over every detail of it.